Hi, my name is Lauren Sipple. My teammate Varsha and I are PhD students in food science at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. And over the past few months, we have been working on improving milk packaging for school meal programs in Wisconsin. Over the past several decades, fluid milk consumption has been declining. This is particularly concerning for children, as milk comprises the majority of their dairy intake. In fact, most children fail to meet the daily recommended dairy servings specified in the dietary guidelines for Americans. Adequate dairy intake is critical for growth and development at this age, as well as disease prevention at all ages. So how do we go about increasing lifetime milk consumption? Previous research indicates that milk consumption is a habit, and therefore increasing milk consumption in childhood will create lifelong milk consumers. Therefore, we decided to address the challenge area of encouraging dairy product consumption, namely milk, by Wisconsin students. We have identified an opportunity to improve the milk packaging used in school meal programs. Currently, the majority of Wisconsin schools serve milk in gable-top paperboard cartons. This is primarily due to their low cost, but also due to their efficiency in storage and distribution, as well as the fact that cartons are the primary method for packaging 8-ounce servings of milk. However, current research suggests that improving this packaging could influence children's liking of milk. During my master's program, I studied children's perceptions of different milk packaging attributes using survey and focus group methodology, and identified that they place the highest importance on milk packaging type. When we looked more closely at their packaging preferences, we found that bottles were preferred over other types of packaging. Intrinsically, research also indicates that milk packaged in paperboard cartons is more likely to develop storage flavors over time than other packaging types, including plastics commonly used in bottles. This is primarily due to flavor scalping, which is a result of flavor migration from the storage environment through the package and into the milk, as well as absorption of compounds from the packaging itself into the product. Children can actually identify these flavor differences, and when we asked them to rank milks packaged in paperboard cartons versus HDPE and PET plastic bottles based on flavor, we found that bottles were ranked higher for flavored and unflavored milk, and that flavor differences significantly affected liking of unflavored milk, as you can see in this graph. Based on this information, we concluded that bottles are more desirable to children than paperboard cartons in terms of appearance, usability, and flavor. The feasibility of switching from cartons to bottles in Wisconsin is complex due to the effects at the processor, distributor, and school food service levels. Some barriers to feasibility include the current equipment used by processors, which may not be capable of packaging milk in 8-ounce bottles, as well as the extra cost of plastic milk bottles, which can be difficult to include in school meal program budgets. However, switching to bottles would allow for existing infrastructure at the distributor and school levels to be utilized, as opposed to an option like milk dispensers, which would require purchase of cups, dishwashers, and increased labor in dishwashing, as well as the cost of the dispensers themselves. The ability to use existing school equipment, as well as keeping milk a grab-and-go option, may make bottled milk a more feasible option to implement. While there are some cost barriers to initially implementing plastic bottles in school meal programs, research by the National Dairy Council has demonstrated that this switch can eventually pay for itself through increased milk sales, meal participation, and federal reimbursements. Their pilot study demonstrated that these increases in sales could be sustained over time, and that students were more likely to choose milk packaged in a plastic bottle. Of course, switching to a plastic bottle is not without its sustainability concerns. However, cartons are more often not likely to be completely recyclable, bottles are most often made out of recyclable materials. But where we think we would see the greatest sustainability benefit by switching to bottles is in the reduction of milk waste. It is estimated that up to 45 million gallons of milk is thrown away in school meal programs each year, which costs $138 million, as well as 361,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalents in greenhouse gas emissions. However, by increasing consumption even more than milk sales, switching to plastic bottles has the potential to greatly reduce these effects of milk waste. In order to provide sufficient evidence to both schools and processors the long-term benefits of switching from cartons to bottles, the first part of our execution plan includes a pilot study. We would identify processors and packaging suppliers suppliers capable of producing 8-ounce bottles of milk, as well as schools or districts willing to participate in this study. We would take measurements on milk sales, waste, and consumption over time, and demonstrate that such efforts increase children's milk consumption as they age. The next step that we would take is to conduct a cost-benefit analysis based on the results of the pilot study. This would demonstrate the financial feasibility of the switch to both schools and processors. The results of the pilot study and cost benefit would then be used to determine if processor incentives for upgrading gable-top carton equipment are needed to replace them with bottling equipment, and even perhaps blow mold capabilities, so that schools in Wisconsin could have reasonable access to this bottled milk. Finally, support systems would need to be implemented to ensure that food and nutrition directors are able to budget appropriately for both the changes in cost of the milk as well as the increases in milk sales and meal participation. Additionally, to ensure environmental sustainability of this plan, resources would need to be made available to schools to educate their students and emphasize the importance of recycling plastic bottles. In summary, while most schools in Wisconsin serve milk in gable-top paperboard cartons, school-aged children prefer the appearance, usability, and flavor of milk in bottles. By executing this study and revamping the milk packaging for school meal programs, not only will milk consumption and sales increase amongst Wisconsin students, but also create lifelong milk consumers that will allow fluid milk to remain competitive with other beverages. I would like to give a special thanks to the many people who contributed their expertise to this project, as well as to our mentors, Kellyanne and Adam, for their help. Thank you, and at this time we'll take any questions.